you know, I'm not a guy to believe that Manny Pacquiao should continue fighting, because if he can't fight a Amir Khan, a Keith Thurman, hell, a Danny Garcia, even if a Marcos Maidana came back, then I don't want to see him fight a Ruslan Provodnikov. And truth be told, I would have loved to see him fight a Terrence Crawford, but the thing is, Terrence Crawford doesn't bring in any money, and the thing is, put it this way, I don't care if he brings in money or not. I would have wanted to see the fight. But when you got Manny Pacquiao, who's going to make somewhere between 20 to 25 million for this fight, then HBO has to have a reason to justify putting it on pay-per-view. I don't believe they want to have a fight where Manny Pacquiao's last fight is going to do 300 to 400,000 pay-per-view buys. What will Pacquiao versus Bradley 3 do? 500 to 600, I guess. You know, I'm not really sure. But no matter how you slice it, Manny Pacquiao fighting Timothy Bradley for a third time is 10 times better than Mayweather fighting Andre Berto. At least Timothy Bradley is a pound for pound fighter, also a world champion. Now let's talk about the world championship status for a second. They're saying this fight is for the WBO world title at 147 pounds. But yet they're having Saddam Ali versus Jesse Vargas for the WBO world title at 147 pounds. So what did the WBO do? Instead of stripping Timothy Bradley, they elevated Timothy Bradley to what is super champion status. So basically, the winner of Manny Pacquiao versus Timothy Bradley will be the mandatory for Jesse Vargas versus Saddam Ali. You know, it's a confusing situation, especially since I wouldn't think of the WBO to do something like this, but I did check their rule books, and there is something in their rule books that say that they can have a super champion under certain circumstances. So basically, they didn't want to strip Timothy Bradley for a high-profile fight like this. You know, also, they didn't want to be a reason for this fight not to happen. Manny Pacquiao right now, my biggest concern is the man just made $150 million. He's been traveling around the world. He's more involved in the politics in the Philippines than he's ever been. The question I'm having is, will he get up and train the same for Timothy Bradley? You know, and how is the shoulder going to hold up? Will Manny Pacquiao put his all into fighting Timothy Bradley, a guy who he feels, and a lot of fans feel, that he beat twice already? You know, Timothy Bradley with this new En Fuego fireman, you know, mentality with Teddy Atlas. I still believe personally that Timothy Bradley is the same Timothy Bradley, even though he got a knockout win over Brandon Rios. But I mean, come on, Brandon Rios, a guy who had to drop 10 to 20, maybe 30 pounds within 3 weeks of the fight. Come on. You know, I'm not taking anything away from Timothy Bradley as a fighter, because Timothy Bradley is good. But it's hard for me to believe at this point in time in his career that Timothy Bradley is a changed fighter. Timothy Bradley, in my opinion, still has problems trying to be a slugger, trying to be a knockout fighter, instead of being the boxer that we saw that fought Juan Manuel Marquez. He still seems to be confused to me. Now, I'm thinking to myself, do I really want Manny Pacquiao to retire? I said that I don't want to see him fight a Ruslan Provodnikov. I don't want to see him fight a Timothy Bradley in the fourth fight. I don't even want to see him fight Timothy Bradley in the third fight. But when you look at the boxing politics, when you look at what's going on with top-ranked Bob Arum suing Al Heyman, and when you look at that, they don't have a working relationship. When you look at Manny Pacquiao fights on HBO, Al Heyman fighters fight on Showtime or PBC, whatever network it is, there's nobody for Manny Pacquiao to fight. Just like when Amir Khan right now, you know, when I look at Amir Khan, I see a fighter who just talks shit. I don't want to call the man a liar because I don't know the man personally, but he's always talking about, oh, I got this fight, or I'm close to getting this fight, and then somebody high up and say, no, you're not getting this fight. Bob Arum came out and said, listen, it's not happening. You know, Amir Khan was saying that, you know, he sent the contract to Manny Pacquiao. You know his whole spiel, you know. But when it comes to him, when it comes to Keith Thurman, can you imagine a Pacquiao versus a Maidana? You know, but it just really can't happen. If Pacquiao was retired, I mean, if Maidana was retired or not, it just can't happen because of the political landscape. They're talking about if Pacquiao decides to continue fighting, Pacquiao versus Canelo. What weight is that going to be at? This is craziness. You know, I'm just concerned that Pacquiao is not going to put his all in the training camp. I'm concerned that Pacquiao, after making all that money from Floyd Mayweather, is gonna do a half-ass training camp. And Timothy Bradley is a very good fighter, and Timothy Bradley can possibly beat a Manny Pacquiao. I'm not saying he will, but he could possibly beat a Manny Pacquiao, especially if he feels, or if Teddy Atlas puts in Timothy Bradley's head that, listen, this guy's over the hill. He just made all his money. You know, he's on his way out the door. You know, he's not going to put all his all in the training. Let's go hard in camp and get him out of here. You know, do I think that Timothy Bradley a knockout of Pacquiao? That'd be crazy. But there's still hope, I guess, you know, if Pacquiao wins. Now, I'm not saying that I want to... Okay, put it this way. I would entertain a Pacquiao versus or a Mayweather versus Pacquiao too. But Pacquiao has to get a high-profile win under his belt, and then when would it happen? But there would be hope. You know, if Pacquiao beats Bradley, there'll be people saying like, Manny Pacquiao is back and he's injury-free. He can beat a Mayweather this time, and maybe they can start that hype train back up again. It'll never be what it was with the 4.4 million pay-per-view buys or whatever it did. But still, it'll be a good way for Manny Pacquiao to go out, you know, with a win over a top 5 pound-for-pound guy. But right now, I'm not really hype about the fight, and I don't see people hype about the fight. I don't hear anybody, you know, talking about it. I don't. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe.